Hello, I'm Jim Morningstar, Director of Transformations, and your guide through this 8-session Advanced Practicum and Apprenticeship in Community Building. In this class, we'll look at a number of important factors and how you bring in and reinforce rewarding relationships in your community building. We'll be examining your style of inviting participants into your community, the explicit and implicit agreements you make with your students, and gain clarity on the value of what you have to offer. First, your delivery style. Having your calling to be a community builder and finding principles and content of what you choose to teach are part of moving forward in the process of the advanced practicum and apprenticeship in community building. How you attract your community members and share your content, however, will have your unique stamp on it, even if you are using the written material of the Creative Life series, for example. There are 4 variables that are instructive to examine in how you deliver your material: warmth, enthusiasm, clarity, and empowerment. Warmth refers to your emotional availability, genuineness, and congruity. How well are your words reflected in your mannerisms? For example, I may be very warm and engaging, or cold and distant in my presentation. I may be inviting you with my words, for example, but next month I want you to be with me, but I'm not really engaged with you at all. Enthusiasm refers to your energy level and flow, reflecting your willingness to share with others. I can be enthused, over-enthused, or just plain flat in my delivery, all of which has a profound effect on my audience's receptivity to my message. Clarity refers to how well I know and present my ideas and feelings directly. I'm maybe very warm and enthused about the topic of self-responsibility, for example, which is, about how we kind of are responsible around things, that are happening at times, to all of us at times. You know what I mean, kind of. Your ability to organize and present your thoughts simply and clearly will go a long way in having your message received. It also helps you to have more depth and mastery with your curriculum. Empowerment is the 4th factor. Empowerment refers to how well you create the space for others to find their own answers rather than dictating to them. For example, how would you feel if I told you that to become an integrated life community builder requires taking and getting 100% on a test for each video in this course, so that you demonstrate you can memorize and repeat all the rules developed from my vast experience, so that you do not screw people up with your misguided attempts to build community. I certainly would not be communicating a sense of your having the power inside of you to use what's offered in this course to build on your own wisdom and serve people in your unique way. Each of us will have a different degree of each of these 4 qualities. That's as it should be. If, however, we or others notice one or another quality coming across as deficient or exaggerated, it could be a distraction to delivering your content in an effective way. In the group facilitator training I recorded and is now available for online learning, we had each student give an introduction to the group they were anticipating to deliver, and they were anonymously rated on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of these qualities by all the other students. This was not to be embarrassing or critical, but to get honest feedback on how their message was coming across to others, which can be challenging, but highly valuable because these traits can be worked on and improved should you desire to do so. For the purpose of self-evaluation, take the rating scale on Handout 1, Community Builder Presentation Qualities Rating, and put an X along each scale as to where you rate yourself at this time in your presentation qualities. Then, put an O on the scale as to where you would like to be by the end of this course on each of these qualities. Then ask yourself how you will lovingly and effectively support yourself in achieving these shifts. Make notes to yourself as appropriate. Do this now and come back to the video. Should you wish, you can copy this scale and get feedback from others on your delivery in your community building work. In our School of Integrative Psychology group facilitator trainings, we completed the ratings on each other anonymously because we did not want personality issues to get in the way of instructive value. In today's world, the venue for your community may vary from in-person to virtual, or a combination of the two, which we've done in the past for several classes here. With in-person community work, the venue for your teaching can vary widely depending on your audience, convenience of accessibility, cost, and availability. I've taught in traditional classrooms, improvised meeting rooms, outdoors, in a number of different countries where translators are needed, live and pre-recorded, audio and video, as well as online. It's great to experiment and even to stretch yourself to find the settings that work the best for you to reach the people who are ready for your community if you're teaching formally. Your deeper message is how your presence is a unique embodiment of your life energy. The old aphorism, "the medium is the message," applies here to mean that your body communicates your personal brand of love to the world, regardless of the words you're using. So find the venues in which your body is comfortable to let your light shine and your curriculum be received most readily. You can learn, as I've had to reach audiences in other countries when restricted to using online venues. It becomes eminently clear that it is the quality of essential contact you have that can make the technology disappear and deep connections formed. You do not have to be a polished speaker with all your content memorized by heart to be a good teacher. Having a variety of modalities for presenting, audio, visual, movement, meditative, guided imagery, soliciting internal processes, written exercises, journaling, homework, and external dialogue, sharing, A/B exchanges, email threads, helps your students be engaged and interested. Online pre-recorded teaching, like our class videos, allows for using written notes that are less obtrusive. And if you are making a recording for your students, editing areas of the recording to make the delivery smoother in the final product is possible. What it does not include is the interactive aspect with live students. This method of teaching may have appealed to some and not at all to others, but that's for you to play with and decide for yourself. Your teaching contract. An all-important element of successful teaching in any setting is a clear contract between you as a teacher and your students. Now, a contract is always a two-way street. That means both parties are clear and in agreement about the exchange going on between them. As a teacher, I'm delivering a content to prospective students. My clarity on what I'm offering and my ability to communicate this in a way that's understandable to my audience will pave the way for a more successful experience. It does not guarantee it, but it greatly increases the chances of mutual satisfaction. Students may be paying you to teach them about material of interest to them. I must let them know what to expect they will benefit from this material. A common mistake is to share only how exciting and wonderful I think my content is, but not what my audience is mostly interested in, that is, what benefit they will receive from it. I may think it's perfectly obvious to everyone because I'm immersed in it and I have benefited from it, but it's not that obvious to others less familiar with what I want to share. And so it should be spelled out in clear, distinct bullet points. At what level of familiarity is my presentation directed? To beginners, intermediate, or advanced levels? I must also be clear about what I want in return for my service. Is it a set fee, a donation? Even if it's a practice or introductory session for free, I do have the expectation of polite attention and perhaps constructive feedback. One of the most humbling yet instructive experiences of my teaching career came at the behest of my father's request that I do a presentation for his widowers group at his church. They sometimes had guest speakers, and he wondered if I'd be willing to talk. I agreed and thought it would be good to present on the topic of spiritual psychology, given the church setting. I was warmly received around a table in a small room by 7 or so widowed seniors. I eagerly launched into my presentation of the topic that was dear to my heart, with all the warmth, enthusiasm, clarity, and empowerment I could muster. The longer I went, however, the more it felt to me something was not clicking. I did not seem to be soliciting much engagement. Finally, when I had the courage to ask for questions, the only one offered was, "When will the sweet rolls be served?" Oh, what was my lesson here? My contract was with my father to show up and talk. I picked a topic that I erroneously thought would be of interest to the audience. I did not have a contract with them to deliver what was of interest or even understandable to them. And I didn't even bring the sweet rolls. Part of me believed that secretly everyone had to be interested in spiritual psychology. Perhaps they were just shy and giving feedback at the time. So I asked my father sometime later if there was any feedback from his group about the talk. He said the only comment delivered to him was one of the participants said, "Your son certainly does like to talk." Great material, wrong audience. I did not follow my own guidelines of asking members what they wanted at the beginning, or at least presenting them with an outline of what was being talked about so they had a choice about attending, before launching into what I thought they should want. Lesson learned. Here are some of the elements that should be implicitly or explicitly agreed upon with your students or clients. For example, if you were leading a therapeutic breathwork workshop, contract agreement between breathwork teacher, practitioner, and student. What is the product? Breathwork is a self-regulated breathing awareness and modulation skill. Breathwork is for self-exploration and healing. What is the practitioner's responsibility? The practitioner functions as a coach in the process. The practitioner is responsible to obtain the information needed from the student to help the session be safe and rewarding, including the student's past experience and present intention. The practitioner will ethically and responsibly use breathwork in context of other processes that they might professionally employ. For example, psychotherapy, physical therapy, therapeutic touch. The practitioner will get the student's consent if physical contact is employed. The student is advised that non-ordinary states of consciousness might arise in the process. The practitioner will adhere to not only the therapeutic breathwork code of ethics, but also their professional code of ethics, including confidentiality. The practitioner advises the student of their follow-up availability. The practitioner advises homework and makes known relevant resources, for example, how other body work, reading material, workshops, or coaching, counseling might be useful. What is the student or client's responsibility? The breathwork process requires personal responsibility for willing participation and results achieved. The student is honest about their intention for engagement and feedback to the practitioner during the process. Payment for services is agreed to upfront by both parties. Now, these are all contractual elements of teaching therapeutic breathwork. Similar details must be thought through for the content and level of teaching you are doing for each class you do. Use Handout 2, Teaching Contract, to outline what you want for a contractual agreement for the teaching community curriculum you are offering formally or informally this year. This includes title or topic of presentation. What is your product? What is the teacher presenter's responsibility? What is the student or client's responsibility? Complete items 1 through 4 only and come back to the video. Who is your intended audience? Now, this is an important question in any form of communication, but especially if you are intending to share something you value. Do not put the unrealistic pressure on yourself that you must deliver your product in an attractive and digestible way with everyone who breathes. Having a target audience is not just intelligent, it's the most effective way of being of value in the world. Deciding this may not be as difficult as you imagine, because your life has been teaching you in this direction all along. For example, what language do you speak? With whom do you share interests? To whom does it excite you to share with? Keep it simple and everyone will benefit. Again, take Handout 2 and complete the final Section 5. The target audience for my curriculum is. This does not have to be too specific, like people in a certain zip code, but it should be not too generic, like people on this planet. Narrow it down as best you can for now. It might get more refined as you progress. Complete item 5 and come back to the video. Respectful communication, responsible self-disclosure, and the practice of holy vision are tried and true tools that, applied in good faith, keep a community vital and mutually supportive. Our group intention, daily practice, and loving engagement can help us to do that in our community building work together this year. Holding you in my heart as fellow travelers on the road home, I send and receive blessings to our circle and all sentient beings. Till next class. Blessings in light and love.